Today, I'd like to talk about the recent WordPress.com announcement of newsletters. Have that up on the screen. Write and publish your newsletter on WordPress.com. So yesterday, as the time of this recording, WordPress.com announced this new newsletter offering. And from what I can tell, it's really just integration of what Jetpack has done for quite some time. And just in a weird coincidence of like co-branding this Jetpack solution on top of .com, is an interesting move. Now, let's just zoom out and just understand the reality of where social media sites are these days. If you are watching this in current 2022 times, you know that Twitter is burning. Social media sites are questionable at best, and they're all trying to go after our content, which leaves a lot of creators sort of scouring to either, launch a blog, start a podcast, or do a newsletter. And I think WordPress is trying to scoop up some of that impact that's happening across the creator community. It's not a fully baked solution. So let's just cut to the chase. From everything that I've tested, it's not a fully baked solution. You're probably going to find better solutions at everyone's favorite newsletter platform these days, Beehive, or at least in the circles that I've seen. In the very small circle Twitter sphere that I have left, I see people jumping to Beehive, let's say MailChimp, or even a MailerLite. Those are platforms that are specifically built for newsletter creation, but also the tools around newsletters, analytics, sign-up forms, all of this stuff is done in-house. Certainly Substack is the front runner in a lot of this stuff. And I think that's where the debate of using WordPress.com for your newsletter really comes into play here. Now, everyone's doing newsletters the air quotes Substack way. You have a landing page with some posts and or your newsletters. You have this immediate subscribe form. This is essentially the differentiator for a WordPress.com account specific to newsletters. Outside of this, there's no other real tooling or interface that decouples itself from WordPress. It's WordPress with a super basic theme that's specifically made to capture this newsletter at the top. It will always run with this banner unless you have a paid plan. And you can edit some things, but really it's just this block. So let's just take a look at the dashboard. If you've never seen WordPress.com before, it's 99% of what your WordPress.org self-hosted site looks like. Again, this is just a free version of WordPress.com, no paid plans here. This is why you'll see upsells to jump up to a paid plan, etc. When I click on the homepage, this is the extent of what the WordPress.com newsletter solution is. It's literally this block or collection of blocks, a pattern, if you will, that allows me to have this email address subscriber form. And when I click that, I can do things like I normally would with Gutenberg. And there's nothing here that really makes it any different than what I would do with my typical WordPress site. Now, for some folks, this is great because it's all sort of predefined for you. It's right out of the gate. And I'm sure they have a few people trickling in to sign up for their newsletter solution. But then when it comes down to writing a post, let's go back to the dashboard. I will go to add new. I'll be writing this blog post or email newsletter as they see it, right in the typical WordPress editor. But there's nothing here that really allows me to manage this as a newsletter or a blog post differently than I would my WordPress site. When you look at the competition, say Substack, Ghost, which I have a lot of experience on now. I've been running a side project there for a couple of months. As simplified as Ghost is, I have the tools needed to craft an email and say, this is an email going to this segment of subscribers or this level of subscription plan. I can do things like put stuff in the email that only goes in the email and not on the blog post. None of that exists yet inside of WordPress.com. So this is just an early play of WordPress.com just saying, hey, you can do a newsletter here too, and hopefully we'll improve it. But I don't think it really lends to the real, premium newsletter subscriber or creator who wants to sell subscriptions, who wants to get people on a newsletter, but then also measure the impact, see the size of your audience, get stats, You find out like who's reading what and who's clicking on what. Certainly not even getting into the ballpark of where a lot of these other more mature sites are with things like email automation, recommendation engines, like goals and subscribers, milestones. None of that exists yet here in WordPress.com. And I'm actually curious if we'll ever see that out of a newsletter solution on WordPress.com, rather than just saying, hey, WordPress can do everything. It's certainly an interesting move, although not a surprising move, to see WordPress.com do this, because yes, WordPress is great because it can do a whole bunch of things. The challenge is getting it to do that one thing that your end user wants, or even you want, out of the software. So I give it like a golf clap, approach to doing newsletters. Really hope to see it evolve. Again, if I'm searching around to create a newsletter, which in fact I am, I'm trying to like move some of my legacy newsletters to a platform that not only gives me the features, but gives me the trust in knowing that, hey, look, this company's not going to just sell out like MailChimp did for $12 billion, or another platform that's just smaller and gets scooped up by a MailChimp and certainly goes up the channel that way. Like, I'm looking as a creator, where do I want to park my investment in where my audience goes, where my list is, where my writing experience is, so that I trust that I'm not making a shift in another year. I think that's the biggest challenge. I would love to vote with my dollars to an automatic solution. It's just not there yet. I don't know if it ever will be, but I'd love it to. If you're looking for a plugin that is a real powerful tool to connect up to other mailing platforms like a MailChimp, like a MailerLite, check out Newsletter Glue. I'll eventually do a video on that for this channel. Newsletter Glue is a fantastic plugin to manage and connect your WordPress site to a email newsletter service. WordPress.com newsletters, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Have you tried it? Are you going to try it? What do you use? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. See you in the next video.